Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with an interview from E3 2013. This interview was made possible exclusively due to the fact that the game station allowed me to follow one of their camera crews around the show floor, thus granting me access to a lot of exclusive content that I would not have been able to obtain otherwise. And not only that, but they also gave me the footage that their film crews shot on site so that I would have the best possible quality of footage to upload onto my channel. Today's interview is about Saints Row 4 from Deep Silver's Volition.
Great. I'm Steve Jarris. I'm the studio creative director at Volition. Saints Row 4 has a lot of crazy things in it. I think some of the stuff that we're prepared to talk about right now, dubstep gun, the black hole gun, those of course are whimsical weapons. Well, one of my personal favorite though is not only the superpowers, which are amazing, but also the way that we've taken conventional weapons and turned those into something kind of exceptional. The fact that you can go into a store, turn a submachine gun into a water gun or a nail gun, and all of a sudden now you've totally changed what used to be a normal weapon into something a little more fantastical, or rocket launcher into a guitar case. On a personal level, though, my personal favorite is that we have the entire first chapter of Pride and Prejudice in our game, but that's just me. When we started including aliens into the game, we knew that it was going to be a big change for a lot of people, but we want to make sure it felt familiar for fans of the franchise who understand, who came from Saints Row 1 through 3. We want to make sure they're not left in the cold. So basically what we did is we took all the enemy types that you would go and experience in, like, say, Saints Row 3. We have more variety within one gang of these alien, the Zin, than in the previous Saints Row 3 combined. Beyond that, though, we also have the same city takeover gameplay that people know. You're kind of going in there trying to reclaim parts of the city from your enemies with more ways to go and do it. There's more open world activities and gameplay than any Saints Row game previous. But beyond that, we also have a few surprises for fans of the franchise that we'll definitely bring back. So you might see some old faces and some old rivals show up to sprinkle in as well. So we definitely have a couple of surprises in store for people. The septic truck is sadly not coming back in Saints Row 4. However, we definitely have some wild vehicles and new surprises for the player to come in. I mean, basically because superpowers totally changed the way that the player navigates the city. They spend less time in cars because they're leaping over buildings, they're flying through the air. So when we are introducing new vehicles, we want to make sure that they feel exceptional and interesting for the player to go and use. So we've definitely have some new fun vehicles to use. One of my favorites is our mech suit, where you can go and fly around and rain death with rockets and machine guns and this giant robot stomping through the city. Our melee system is comparable to what we had in Saints Row 3. We have really exciting animations that happen if you sprint towards someone, press the right trigger. You can execute some fantastic different moves to execute people. Superpowers is a whole new twist on that, where you can throw people in the air, kick them to break their spine, throw their body on the ground, and stomp on their head. But it's very simple and intuitive. That's one of the things that we really wanted Saints Row to be, is a game that is anyone can pick it up and play it and feel like a badass while they're doing it. So it's simple to execute things that have a really great payoff, both visually as well as feeling it when you're holding the controller. GTA 5 is certainly coming out in the same season as we are, but honestly, it's one of those things where the two projects are both great games and they both are very different. GTA 5 is not going to have superpowers and aliens in the same way that we're not talking about the death of the American dream. So, I mean, they're very similar products. In that they are open world, but that's really their only commonality. Beyond that, they're radically different. I think tonally they're very different, mechanically they're very different, and I think they both stand apart as two separate entities. So, I'm really excited to play GTA 5, but I think that the fan who wants to go and play that and play our game as well, they're companion pieces to each other. I don't think they're at odds at all. I think they're very much two standalone products that work out well together. People asked about weapons in Saints Row. This is not quite as large as in our game, but this is the dubstep gun.
Some of my favorite features or craziest things. Well, first and foremost is the introduction of the superpowers. I mean, this is something Saints Row has never really had, and it kind of seemed like the most natural progression we could take with the craziness from Saints Row the Third. Like, how could we top Saints Row the Third? Let's do superpowers, and it changes the gameplay, and it changes how you interact with the city entirely to a completely different level, and it's so much fun. I mean, you'll just get lost for hours just jumping from rooftop to rooftop. There's so many collectibles in the city. Also, we have a bunch of new crazy weapons to kind of complement those superpowers. You have your traditional weapons as well, but we've like today you got to see the black hole gun. We've introduced the dubstep gun and the inflator array previously. There's other weapons that are going to be just as crazy and fun to play with as well. The dubstep gun. How did we come up with the dubstep gun? It had been tossed around the office for years, actually. I think the first time it was brought up was back on Saints Row the Third, and we just didn't have the time or the to put into the system yet. But on Saints Row 4, it kind of got rebirthed, and we got some systems guys, myself, programming, art, visual effects, all together to figure out the best way to take care of this weapon. And what it ends up being is it's actually a system that utilizes audio markers in the WAV file, and those audio markers trigger the visual effects that play out of the gun. And that's what triggers everything to happen in tempo with the song, is those markers are placed in tempo in the WAV file. And those markers trigger the cars to bounce up and down, their headlights to flash, the PEDs to do their crazy dances in tempo. So that's how everything plays in tempo with the music, is through those audio markers. So the music for Saints Row 4 is leaps and bounds above what we did even on Saints Row the Third. Saints Row the Third, we started to introduce scoring and mission music. We used a composer named Malcolm Kirby Jr., and he did a lot of unique composition for Saints Row the Third. We brought him back for Saints Row 4, just he knows the franchise, he knows what we like, he knows how the Saints Row game should sound. And so we have way more unique scoring for both cutscenes, missions, open world gameplay. We actually are doing something new with Saints Row 4 where we have an interactive music system where as you're traversing around the city, a score will come in and it will actually feed off of what you're doing. If you're sprinting, the music will change. If you start jumping up high on buildings, the music will change depending on your elevation. And then also, since there is the superpower element and you're not in vehicles as much, we still need to have radio for the players. I mean, it's Saints Row, and so we got to have a radio. So this time around we figured, let's just give them an on-foot radio. So you actually have the radio available to you whenever you want. You don't have to be in a car to have the radio. So it's kind of like an MP3 player. That's about all I can talk about with music right now, but we are going to do a bigger announcement for music later on, yeah, for sure. For voice choices for SR4, for Saints Row 4, we're going to do 7-player voices like we did on Saints Row the Third. We're bringing back some of the fan favorites, of course. There's some that we've had through pretty much the entire franchise, so they can count on that. We are changing up a couple of them, so there's a couple different ones than there were on Saints Row the Third. And we are doing a little bit different kind of our comic voice. On Saints Row the Third, it was a zombie voice. This time around, we're doing something a little bit different that I think the players are really going to get a kick out of. Don't really want to give that away just yet, but there's definitely a lot of variety. One other thing we're doing with player voice is now we're offering the player the option to pitch their voice. So they can pick one of 7 voices, and then they can go in and pitch it up, pitch it down, make it sound really funny, make it sound really mean and weird and monstrous. So if they make some freaky looking character, they can have a freaky sounding voice to go along with it. The customization it's very similar to Saints Row the Third. We are bringing back some of the fan favorites as far as customization items go. The main reason for that is that you're going to be able to import your character from Saints Row the Third into Saints Row 4. We're going to be doing the same kind of community site where you get to upload, design and upload a character. And so we wanted you to. A lot of people spend a lot of time on those characters for Saints Row the Third, so we figured let's let them bring that character into Saints Row 4. And then we're offering a bunch more customization on top of that, so they can, if they want to change their character up, they can. I think we have something in the neighborhood of like 600 new customization items. And apart from player customization, vehicle customization, we now are offering weapons customization. On Saints Row the Third, it was just kind of upgrades, like functional upgrades. Now you can really change how your weapon looks. You can change your rifle to go from looking like a normal rifle to a water gun, or for us, you can have your machine gun go from looking like a normal machine gun to a nail gun. And then on top of that, you can also change how that looks. We have different skins. So like if you change your heavy pistol to look like a 9mm, you can also change it to look like a gold-plated 9mm. So we really wanted to offer more opportunities for players to customize their player and more than just how they look. And then we also are going to be offering superpower customization. So we figure we're introducing this brand new bit of gameplay to Saints Row 4. We need to offer a way for the players to customize it. And I'm really excited for the people to see that. As far as co-op, seamless drop-in, drop-out, it's the same as it was on the previous Saints Row titles. Same co-op, seamless drop-in, drop-out. Just hop in and wreak havoc with your buddies. Oh, my character. Let's see. On Saints Row the Third, I made a badass punk chick with scars and a bloody nose and a mohawk. I think on this one, I tended to go more for. I think it's because I put on weight. I tended to make a big dude that wears really tight, unflattering clothes, and then I take the female voice and then I pitch it down, and it sounds absolutely hilarious, especially in the cutscenes. It's really funny. So Saints Row the 4 will be releasing in North America on August 20th of this year on Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. And then it will be releasing worldwide on August 23rd, same platforms.